Tens of thousands of Catalans protest against the Spanish government's decision to remove powers from their leadership. But the region's leader says he'll continue the fight for independence and appeals to Europe for support.
We do what we do because we believe in a democratic and peaceful Europe. The Europe of the Charter of Fundamental Rights.
The World Health Organization reviews its appointment of Robert Mugabe as an ambassador after widespread condemnation. Muslim leaders hope evidence suggesting Islamic State punished a notorious British jihadi will deter other potential extremists. Storm Brian batters the southern Irish coast and threatens the UK with winds of up to 70 miles an hour. And in sport, Lewis Hamilton takes pole position for today's US Grand Prix. Catalonia's independence has intensified, with the Spanish region's leader accusing the central government of attacking democracy. Carles Puigdemont said the Catalan people wouldn't accept the Prime Minister's decision to fire him and his ministers and force an election, and he appealed to Europe for support. Thousands of people gathered in Catalonia's capital, Barcelona, to show their support for the region's autonomy. From Barcelona, our Europe correspondent Michelle Clifford reports.
Once again, Catalonia's capital city gave voice to the independence movement. A difficult end. Michelle Clifford, Sky News, Barcelona.
Now, rarely has the choice of a goodwill ambassador been so controversial. The World Health Organization says it's rethinking its decision to appoint the Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe as its representative. Human rights groups had called it embarrassing, saying Mr. Mugabe has devastated his own country's health system. Doctors say it was an insult, and the UK government said it was disappointing. Our correspondent Rhiannon Mills reports.
Robert Mugabe has a reputation for corruption and suppressing democratic debate, real leadership, and publicly admit he made a mistake. Rhiannon Mills, Sky News.
His name was scrolled on a prison wall in what was, until recently, Islamic State's capital city in Syria. Now, Muslims from Abu Saeed al-Britani's hometown of High Wycombe say they hope his apparent fate will stop other young people leaving Britain to help IS. Abu Saeed went to Syria in 2014 and is on a US sanctions list. Our correspondent Laura Bundock reports from High Wycombe.
This is a message to that despicable swine, David Cameron.
Abu Saeed al-Britani was prolific online, regularly posting videos and blogs.
Britani in Raqqa. His family here are devastated, and many now hope his death will deter others from making the same journey. Laura Bundock, Sky News.
Storm Brian has caused flooding in some coastal areas of Southern Ireland, bringing winds of up to 70 miles an hour to other parts of the UK. This footage taken at Hook Lighthouse in Wexford shows the impact on the Irish coastline, which is still recovering from Storm Ophelia. Forecasters say there could be further flooding and power cuts in England, Ireland and Wales. At least 54 Egyptian policemen, including 34 conscripts, have been shot dead during a raid on a militant hideout near Cairo. It happened in the Al-Wahat al-Bakrira area in Giza, about 80 miles from the capital. One report says the police were ambushed and ran out of ammunition. More than 50 years after the death of President John F. Kennedy, Donald Trump says he'll release the remaining classified documents about his assassination. The classification was extended by Congress in 1992 and is due to expire this week. President Kennedy was shot in November 1963 as he traveled through Dallas in an open-top car. Malta's government is offering a €1 million reward for information about who killed the investigative reporter Daphne Caruana Galizia. She was killed by a car bomb on Monday. Ms. Caruana Galizia had accused the Prime Minister of Malta and other top politicians of corruption. Women trying to escape domestic abuse are finding it increasingly hard to secure a safe place in refuge. Months ago, the Prime Minister said it was her personal priority to change the way domestic violence is tackled in the UK. But funding cuts mean some refuges have closed and others have fewer places available. Tom McLeod reports.
Legislation will be brought forward to protect the victims of domestic violence and abuse.
There were still an estimated 1.3 million female victims of domestic abuse in the last year.
2 women a week in England and Wales are killed by their partners.
Domestic abuse knows no barriers. It can really happen to everyone.
There are women calling every day needing a space and not being able to find one. But and that is as a result of so many refuges closing. I think we've lost 1/5 of all refuges since 2010.
Charlotte Neer is a survivor of domestic abuse and now runs a women's refuge where Sky News have gained exclusive access. Sky News.
Council is paying £2,000 a day for a fire safety team to keep a 24-hour watch on a converted office block. Councillors in Slough believe the block is a fire risk and say since the Grenfell Tower fire, they have a moral duty to protect the residents. They're trying to buy the freehold so they can carry out the necessary work to make the building safe. Our correspondent Siobhan Robbins reports.
Day and night, a fire crew watches these flats, costing thousands of pounds to hire.
This is Sky News coming. Now the latest sports news.
See you at the top.
This sports bulletin is brought to you by Vitality, for life insurance that rewards healthy living.
Good morning. Goals from the Premier League where there was a shock defeat for Manchester United to come. But first, Lewis Hamilton will start on pole position for the US Grand Prix. All the Premier League goals over on Sky Sports News. We're back a little later. See you soon.
For life insurance that rewards healthy living, Vitality.
This is Sky News. Coming up, another look at the morning's papers in our press preview. This is Sky News, our top stories. Thousands of Catalans have protested against the Spanish government's decision to remove powers from their region. Catalonia's leader says he'll continue to fight for independence. The World Health Organization is rethinking its appointment of the Zimbabwean President Robert Mugabe as a goodwill ambassador after widespread criticism. And Muslim leaders say they hope evidence suggesting Islamic State turned against a British jihadi will deter other potential extremists. The Highways Agency is considering raising the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit for driving through motorway roadworks to reduce congestion. It carried out tests that shows drivers' heart rates are lower when driving at 60 miles an hour, so they drive more safely. Our correspondent Lisa Dowd reports.
Regulars on the M1 will know that these roadworks and these signs have been a familiar sight for years. But it's all dependent on further research. Lisa Dowd, Sky News, Derbyshire.
Now with another look at today's newspapers, here's Gamal.
Hello there, you're watching the press preview, a look at what's in tomorrow's newspapers as they arrive. Joining us to offer their insights into the headlines, the Times columnist Matthew Syed and the writer and columnist Christina Patterson.